Welcome to the 10th episode of the Universe: a Love Story podcasts, Evolutionary Love podcasts. And we are in the Politics of Outrageous Love Part 3 to really deepen and understand how do we enact a politics of outrageous love. Now, let's just notice, when we're talking about a politics of outrageous love, we're talking about love breaking out and becoming the guiding force, the organizing force of reality. You know, when Buckminster Fuller said that love is the, gravity of reality, the metaphysics, right, of reality, right, the gravitational metaphysics of reality is love, which just means something really simple. Love is the organizing principle. So evolutionary love drives the whole thing, and evolutionary love moves us towards the evolution of love. In the evolution of love, one of the great moments is the emergence, the awakening to the realization that the answer to the question of who are you is, you are, I am, an irreducible, unique expression of the love intelligence, with a unique perspective, with unique, outrageous acts of love to commit. That's one movement in the evolution of love. Then an even higher movement in the evolution of love, and let's kind of break it out clearly this week, is when those unique selves come together and they form a unique self-symphony. So I'm no longer acting independently in my own sphere. I begin to see with evolutionary eyes. I begin to have an evolutionary relationship to life. I realize I'm living in an evolutionary context, and I'm not just acting as a small self in my narrow life. I may do the exact same things, right? But when I act to heal, let's say, pain in my family, I'm acting to heal that trauma for all of reality, not just to solve my little problem, right? I'm actually participating in the field. That's a term from physics. There's a field of love intelligence, and the entire field of love intelligence is interconnected. And so when I act and I address the unique need in my unique circle of intimacy and influence, I'm affecting the entire field of love intelligence and awakening to the fact that there's a unique self-symphony, which is in the field of love intelligence, which then acts together to unleash energies that were unavailable before because of the unique music that's created through the new synergies, the new coming together of parts to form larger wholes, is in itself a new level of consciousness, a new expression of the evolution of love, a new resounding holy yes emerging in symphonic form. So that's where we are. Like that's
Beautiful.
Where we are. Yeah, amen.
Yes.
Amen. That's where we are. So let's talk about, right, how to give that structure. What would the structures of a unique self-symphony be? How would it happen? And you've spent so much time in this, Barbara.
I discovered a structure. It's very simple. Instead of having people speaking and other people in rows,
Right.
you can't do it that way.
Right.
We had to create a big circle, and we had to create every part of that circle is a function. Who's interested in health? Who's interested in education? Who's interested in science? Who's interested in art? And so on. And people were invited to go into the sector of that circle where they wanted to create.
Beautiful.
In other words, where the unique self wanted to express itself. And it went in and became small groups saying, this is what I want to create. This is what I need that I don't have. And this is what I want to give freely to everyone. So these little clusters around these functions formed, and then they had a chance to share with each other it's like a whole self-symphony. It was a very microcosmic symphony because each sector said, this is what we want to create. This is what we need that we don't have. Does anybody else in this wheel have what we need? Always they did. So we got vocational dating.
Beautiful.
You date with the people who have something you need in order to be yourself. And then what do you want to give that somebody else might need? Somebody needs it. They come up to you. And before you know it, you have a unique self-symphony on a microcosmic scale.
Right.
Then people go back to their sectors of the wheel, and you symbolically take down the walls of the sectors. So there's no more separation in your body. Yes, you have a heart, a stomach, a liver, but there's no walls. It's a whole system. So you get to feel what it's like if you're a member of a small whole system. It's political. And at the center of this circle is heart, love, and coordination of separate parts.
Outrageous love.
So the people at the coordinating hub are not government trying to tell you what to do. In fact, government is a sector. The heart of it is love and coordination, which I think represents the universal process of the symphonic connecting through allurement. And I did 25 of these with my partner John Whiteside in the 1970s in all kinds of strange places. I tell you, like gang leaders of Los Angeles, or space scientists in Huntsville, Alabama, or all kinds of people. And it's the nature of nature. It's what Buckminster Fuller called an operating manual for spaceship Earth is social synergy.
Yeah.
We're structured in hierarchical silos. Universities are designed in silos. Politics is win-lose structure, even the best of liberal democracy. Religions are organized in separate categories. We created a whole system. Now, I think the politics of Unique Self Symphony is to start doing this on local scales, larger scales, and eventually having a planetary symphony.
It's awesome.
We
Right?
have an internet.
We do.
All we need is the intention to do this.
The intention to do it and some good technology, which we're working on here.
In 5 years, I would set a goal
Yeah.
that in 5 years we can have a Unique Self Symphony, at least at some scale, which would be that everybody on Earth who wants to be part of it
Right.
is giving their gift within it.
Right. And
Everybody on Earth, and suddenly you don't become a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew. You don't become East or West, black or white. You become a unique self.
you become a unique self in a unique self symphony. How gorgeous.
I mean, you get over the whole thing.
Right. You get over the whole thing. and here's where technology becomes, again, an
Yeah.
instrument of love. So it's about $1 million to put together this piece of technology. We've got the specs for it. You want to play and participate with us, so come play with us and let's create this. So let's look at this for a second, okay? We're in the just about the end of the 10th podcast, which is the end of our first series of podcasts. So I think at this point it's time to look at an anthill. An anthill, right? I mean, clearly we've got to look at an anthill. So an anthill is unbelievably complex.
Yes.
Every ant knows exactly what to do. And the ants have never gone to the 25 SynCons, right? Synergy conferences that Barbara and Colonel Whiteside put on. Now, how could that be? Okay, because in the ant world, there is an intelligence, an inherent intelligence. Every ant knows what to do, possibly through the secretion of pheromones, right? A chemical which has coded information. And when anthills were first studied, there was the question, which was, where's the general? Right? Who's giving instructions? Similar to slime molds. Mm-hmm. If you've ever kind of been on a forest floor and you see something that looks like slight vomit on a log, that could be slime molds. So slime molds move along, then they, at a certain moment, they'll dissipate. All the cells will go to different directions, and they'll come back together. So who gives the orders to disperse? Who brings the slime molds back together? So we call that property, which Barbara was just so magnificently describing, self-organization.
Yes.
Self-organization, though, isn't a magic word, right? Self-organization is outrageous love.
Well, who's the self-organizing in this
Right.
case? In this case, you and I
Right.
are the
Our
expression of the
expressions.
self, of the larger self, of the universe.
Yes.
I mean, this unique self, every
Yes.
unique self is yearning to give its gift into the whole. This is as strong as the desire for love. This is the desire.
This is the desire
This
for
is
love.
the desire for, it's outrageous love.
It's outrageous love.
Yes.
And just like in an anthill, and Barbara just like, home run bases loaded, top of the ninth or bottom of the ninth. I can't remember which is top and bottom, but somewhere in the ninth, right? Right. So what's happening here? So ants self-organize perhaps through pheromone secretions. How does the unique self symphony of human beings self-organize? Through uniqueness. In other words, my unique self, uniqueness is the strange attractor which drives self-organization. So Barbara lives her unique self, called forth by that unique destiny, which has nothing to do with her background, nothing to do with her family, right? There's some deeper soul's code, if you will, right? Some deeper destiny that calls forth that uniqueness. Marc's called forth by his uniqueness, right? Norman's called by his uniqueness, and then uniqueness moves us to play our unique instrument and the unique self symphony, which together forms a music of potent creativity that has the ability to address every challenge on the planet and to actually take us to the next step of reality in which people actually live loving each other, creating together, right? Creating greatness, depth, beauty, and goodness. Wow.
You see, that unique self in each person is coded with an impulse to realize potential.
Right. A unique impulse.
A unique impulse and unique potential.
Right. And unique potential.
And every single individual has unique potential. And the closer you can get to identifying what that potential is and saying yes to it, the more you get to be part of the symphony.
Right.
And so everybody has it. It's just like we all have a heart and lung and a liver. We also all have a unique self potential.
Right.
But the thing is, we often don't notice it. We often don't spend the time to say, oh, I'm not sure if that's the right. I'm not sure if I know which way to go. But the only way you know is by giving it the test, trying it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Saying yes to the attraction, even if it's a small yes. You don't have to say a big yes and jump off a cliff. You just say a little yes. I mean, I was a housewife in Lakeville with 5 children. And I got depressed, and I said, there's a yes in here somewhere for more that wants to emerge. And I wanted to say that yes out of the depression, to say there's more coming for me, but I didn't have any clue what it was, completely changed my life. Because if I had said no and just tried to stay with the depression or medicate myself so I didn't feel the depression, I don't think I'd be sitting here.
Yeah, no, it's so...
It's a little choice. It's a tiny choice, but it's huge in its implications.
It's huge. I mean, it's so beautifully said, Barbara. I mean, the mystics call it a point of choice.
Yeah.
It's a narrow window of choice, which is the place that I choose to say yes to reality, personally expressing as me, which is my unique self. And, I'll close with 2 things, and I'm sure Barbara will close with the last thing afterwards, which is perfect because we're in this gorgeous dance. So here's 1, here's 2. 1. There's an idea in chaos theory and complexity theory called the strange attractor.
Yes.
And I want to use that word poetically. Strange attractor, that which pulls us forward, right, which draws us forward. Right? Lots of what we do in therapy is we work out what happened yesterday, which is important. But that's not enough to heal. To heal, to become whole, I need to be drawn towards my future. I need to enact, I need to articulate a memory of my future. The future that draws me forward is unique self. Let's go even one step further, because this is so shocking and it's so beautiful that just to see it just blows your heart open. If you realize that the entire trajectory of evolution is the evolution of love, that the evolution of love expresses itself, climaxes, apexes in a human being who awakens as a unique expression of outrageous love, committing their unique outrageous acts of love, you then realize that unique self is the strange attractor of the entire evolutionary symphony. The unique self is drawing the entire story forward. And then the last point, and then to Barbara, who's going to close up, and take us the last step home, you also realize, and this is what you were talking about, Barbara, in terms of depression, and right, depression is replaceability. Someone else could be doing it. The unique self is the source of joy. Right? Joy can never be had by pursuing joy. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness doesn't work. Happiness is available as a byproduct of the passionate pursuit of something other than happiness. And what is that? Right? That is saying yes to your unique self, which gives you the potency of outrageous love and the ability to commit outrageous acts of love and to realize that you're alive, your radical aliveness, you're needed by all that is.
That yes is a compass of joy. And nature, makes things pleasurable.
Yes.
That's really the direction you're supposed to go in. So when you feel the joy of the saying yes, by doing something, maybe a peak performance in certain ways, you feel you're good at communicating, good at athletics, you're good at something, keep going in that direction because there's no end to it.
Right.
But I wanted to conclude with something about strange attractors.
Awesome.
In the structural domain,
right,
my understanding in chaos theory is that when a system, big political system, is out of disequilibrium,
right,
it tends to try to go backward to stabilize. So
right,
you have reactive religions, reactive politics all around the world.
Right.
Meanwhile, it can't stabilize by going back.
Right.
Therefore, it's going to go towards something. If it can find a benign structure to jump toward, not just good ideas, but a structure that can hold the system. So it has to be, that's why I like the wheel of co-creation. It's a structure.
Define benign for everybody. A good
Benign
structure.
is a kind,
Coherent structure.
coherent, loving, in
Right.
a way. A
Loving.
loving structure.
An outrageously
Now,
loving
democracy
structure.
is a loving structure
Right.
for its time,
Good.
particularly liberal democracy. We went out of monarchy, we jumped.
Right.
However, if there isn't a benign and loving structure
Beautiful.
for a system to jump into, it can jump into a very diabolic system.
Goes reactive.
For example, Nazism
Right.
was a diabolical system invented as a strange attractor,
Right.
and very skillfully. Communism, fascism, we went through some terrible strange attractors, including our defense program, which was mutually assured destruction as a defense program. So, I mean, these were very bad strange attractors. And what we're doing in the unique self symphony, I believe, is creating a new strange attractor.
Absolutely.
It's symphonic, it is structural, it is open to new systems of coordination and cooperation that will lead to a politics of outrageous love.
Isn't that awesome? Friends, this is the end of the first 10 podcasts. You know, we end as we began. We stand before a tale of two futures. It's the best of times, it's the worst of times. Awakening as outrageous love, participating in the evolution of love, which is really what we're doing here together. We're at the leading edge of the leading edge. We are love awakening in this conversation. So I end with the most important thing. Love you.
I just wanted to say one more little thing.
See, she doesn't love me. You guys get that?
Is that when a system is at this point of disequilibrium and could go either way, the smallest energy toward the positive can have a huge effect. If the system is sort of stuck in a stable situation, you're trying to change it, it's very, very hard. But if the system is is disordered, that tendency toward syntropy, toward greater order is there. So I want everybody to know that the smallest acts that any of us can do at a time of disequilibrium is much more potent than, let's say, when the system is stuck.
So at a time of disequilibrium, right, a small fluctuation in the system jumps it, right, to a higher level of order, which is exactly the experience of the evolutionary relationship to life, that my next act, right, shifts the whole system. Everyone got that? It's awesomely important. It's beautiful to finish with. Now let's see if Barbara loves me. I waited a little bit. She just ignored me, skipped. Let's try it one more time.
I do love you.
Okay, oh my God, thank God. Love you all. Awesome. Thank you.